Yes, what is the meaning of mercy? It is very
Kind.
easy. Yes,
Forgiveness.
Being kind.
being kind. Okay, then I got some answer.
Ma'am, forgiveness.
Forgiving someone, right? Then being kind to someone. Daye, karune, what we say in the colloquial languages. Okay,
Ma'am,
that is
pity.
yes,
Pity.
pity. Okay, then fine. So you have understood the meaning. What is the word mercy mean? Okay, this quality of mercy, it is a speech. It is a long prologue speech in one of the plays of William Shakespeare. The quality of mercy is a long prologue speech from the plays of William Shakespeare. Please don't disturb me in the middle. If you want to, join the meeting, join it quite early. Okay. So this speech, the quality of mercy, has been extracted. Extracted means taken from, picked up from. Okay. So it has been extracted from one of the plays of William Shakespeare's, that is the Merchant of Venice. William Shakespeare has written many of the plays, okay, and he is known for the best of his comedies and also the tragedies. So the best among his comedies are The Merchant of Venice, and in the play, a lady character, a lady protagonist character. Protagonist means heroine, okay, protagonist character. She has given a speech, she has delivered a speech, okay, and they have collected that speech and kept for you. Why? Because there she explains how the quality of mercy should come from uh, the human beings, okay, because we cannot bring it forcefully. Can you love someone with some force? If somebody comes and asks, if they shoot you or if they demand you to shoot, okay, and if they ask you to love them or to mercy them forcefully, can you do it? We cannot do it. Only for the sake of scary sense, we can do it for temporal, but initially from the bottom of our heart we can't do it. So here the lady character Portia, Portia, okay, Portia, she explains what is mercy and the quality of mercy, how it is, how important it is, and how useful it is to the society. And once if the society is full of the mercy, how will be the society, or how will be the universe, or how will be the mother earth in the future? She explains when she delivers a speech called The Quality of Mercy. Okay, so let's go to the speech now. Is the screen visible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Just a second.
Sandeep. चल आता मास्क शुभ मास्क ले दे सौम्य
Mute yourself. Mute yourself. Okay. The Quality of Mercy, it is a speech delivered by one of the characters of William Shakespeare's play, that is The Merchant of Venice is the name of the play, and the character is Portia. So let's have an introduction of William Shakespeare. As we know, William Shakespeare is another synonym for English literature, because when we take the word English literature, then comes the only name as the hero of the English literature, that is William Shakespeare. So this man, Shakespeare, William Shakespeare, has introduced many of the new terms, many of the new words to the English language. Okay, sometimes he's also known as the father of English literature. William Shakespeare, not of an age, but for all the age. Okay, it is a great quote made by Ben Jonson. Okay, Ben Jonson is also the greatest contemporary writer. Contemporary means equal age. Okay, so when William Shakespeare was there, at the same time, Ben Jonson was also there in the same era or in the same period. Okay, so he quotes a beautiful quote on his name. Okay, on him on his prestigious career, that he says that William Shakespeare is not of an age. It means Shakespeare will not only belongs to our age, but he is for all the age. See, even today, after centuries, ahead, we are studying William Shakespeare. Okay, so even after the many centuries, many people will learn William Shakespeare. Why? Because the way he has written, it is so tremendous, it is so wonderful that no one can touch him. Okay, such a genius he was. So next, Ben Jonson calls him, he is not of an age, because he is not only remembered into his age, he is for all the ages. Shakespeare is regarded as the greatest poet and playwright ever in English language. He was born in Stanford upon Avon in England. He was born in Stanford upon Avon in England. His father was John Shakespeare. He was a prosperous farmer, and he was a rich farmer and a wool and a timber merchant. Okay, so initially he was a farmer. Along with that, he was also a merchant. Merchant, the word merchant means business person. Okay, the word merchant means business person. His father, John Shakespeare, was a prosperous farmer and a wool and a timber merchant. His mother, Mary Arden, was the daughter of a prosperous farmer. Okay, his mother, Mary Arden, was also a daughter of a prosperous farmer. Okay, Shakespeare attended a little grammar school and never studied in any of the universities. See, one interesting thing about William Shakespeare is he never studies, he never studied in any of the universities. Means he never went to any college or any universities for his higher studies. Okay, he had received a formal education, and that education was from a little grammar school. In the little grammar school, he studied, he learned to write and he learned to read. Only this much was his capacity, and only this much he studied in the little grammar school. See, we always, I mean, the student of literature, English literature, we always crack a joke. The joke is that uh, William Shakespeare has never been attended any of the universities for his further studies or higher studies. Remember this. William Shakespeare has never attended any of the universities or for his higher studies or his further studies. But today, but today, none of the university students will never pass their masters without studying William Shakespeare, right? So none of the students of universities, okay, none of the university students, they never pass English literature, okay, without studying William Shakespeare. So that is the limit or the influence of William Shakespeare. So he is a born genius. He attended a grammar school, a little grammar school, and never studied in any of the universities. In the little grammar school, he picked up small Latin and a less Greek, to which he is learned. Okay, friend Ben Jonson refers. His friend Ben Jonson, again, he says that in the school, he never studies English language or English literature, because he is the person who has introduced many words into English language and in English literature. But rather than that, he had picked up small Latin and less Greek. See, now, we feel and we sense that the person who studies English or speaks English very fluently, they are very civilized, cultured, and educated. In then also, I mean, then in the sense, back to the 16th century or the 15th century, they also had a blind impression that the people who speaks Latin and Greek, they were considered as the most educated persons, they were considered as the most cultured persons. Okay, so in such a way, He studied Latin, small Latin, and less Greek. At the age of 18, he got married with Anna Hathaway. The couple have blessed with 3 children. He wrote 37 plays and 154 sonnets. See, altogether he has written 39 plays. Okay, remember, altogether he has written 39 plays, but those 2 last remaining plays were written in the collaboration. Means it was not solely by him. Okay, because those two were collaborated. Means okay, in in the with the help of somebody, and additionally with another person, he has written those 2 plays. So those have not added into the list. Hence, I have taken 37 plays, and the same number of the plays also have given into your textbook. He wrote 37 plays and 154 sonnets. Shakespeare died on 23rd of April 1616 at the age of 52. At the quite middle young age, he died. Okay, that was not a dying age. Fine. So at the age of 52, he died on 23rd of April 1616. Okay. So one interesting thing about William Shakespeare is also that he was born on the same day. He was born on 23rd of April 1564, and he was died on 23rd of April 1616. Okay. So the next thing about his works, he is famous for his plays. The first one is comedies. He has written all the categories of plays: comedies, tragedies, histories. Comedies means it is not only full of comics, but also the plays which have happy endings. Okay, the plays which have happy endings, it is known as comedies. Okay, so which are his famous comedies? All is Well That Ends Well, As You Like It, The Comedy of Error, The Merchant of Venice. Okay, so the fourth play that you have for your syllabi. Fine. So have you read any of the plays of William Shakespeare in your school days? May I get the answer from you? Have you read any of the plays? Or was any of the plays of William Shakespeare there for you as a text? Don't worry, I don't ask any question from those plays. Let me know. Are you there? Everyone? May I know? Am I audible to you? I will start getting this doubt if you don't answer me.
Ma'am, we did not have any.
Yes? Okay, you have not read. Well, now on you can read, because that will enormously enrich your knowledge. He has written about the worldly qualities. It may be the love of mother's father or the partner, whatever it is. You can get the universal knowledge. It may be about the science. Okay, it may be about the technology. It may be about the astronomy. So he has extended his hands to all the subjects of all the whole universe. So I wish you could read all the plays very soon. Okay, later his comedies are over. So this some small part of speech is there from the play called The Merchant of Venice for you. That is The Quality of Mercy. Next come to the tragedies. Okay, the greatest tragedies: Hamlet, King Lear, Macbeth, and Othello. Don't read it as Othello. Okay, it is Othello. Okay, Othello. Okay, he is also a Venice Moor. Okay, so this is what the tragedies. The next is histories: Henry IV and Richard III. These are about the kings. She has written 37 plays, but here I have mentioned only some important plays of William Shakespeare. Okay, so next come to the point of your own syllabi. The Quality of Mercy is a memorable extract from the play The Merchant of Venice. Okay, see, there is a play written by a comic play written by William Shakespeare, that is The Merchant of Venice, and This quality of mercy, it is a memorable extract from the play The Merchant of Venice. It is an address made by Portia to Shylock in the law of court. Okay, so these are the characters, Portia and Shylock. It is an address speech. Okay, it is an address speech made by Portia to Shylock in the law of court. Portia demands to show mercy from Shylock. Okay, Portia demands Shylock to show mercy. Remember, Portia, write down these characters into the paper which you have. Okay, Portia is a lawyer. She has disguised it herself. Disguised. Disguised. Disguised herself as a lawyer. Okay, mercy is the mightiest of the mightiest because its power is mightier than all other powers that a king can boast of. Okay, see, mercy or forgiving someone or being kind on someone, that is a mercy. Okay, so this mercy is the mightiest of the mightiest. See, usually this mighty means powerful, great, or heavy. So here we cannot use the same meaning or the terms to analyze or to understand the meaning of the word mercy. Okay, so here we can say that it is the greatest, or it is it is a very powerful than all other elements. Okay, of forgiving someone. So here the poet says that mercy is the mightiest of the mightiest because its power is mightier. The power of this mercy is mightier than all other powers that a king can boost of. Okay, later, the quality of mercy is not constrained. Constrained means force or pressure. See, this mercy we cannot bring by force. Can we bring? Can I impose mercy on you? Can I ask you to be merciful on everybody, even though if they come to kill you? We can't be that. Okay, so we can't bring this mercy by force. It should become naturally from the bottom of your heart, like how you smile, how you love someone. Okay, so in the same way, this mercy also come very naturally from the bottom of your heart. Okay, so let me explain the summary of the play. I have asked you to take pen and paper with you. Have you taken? I want to know now.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, write down the first character, Shylock. Write down the first character, Shylock. Look at my cursor. I'm in the mouse point. There you can get the spelling. Shylock. 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 Okay. So write about 2 lines about Shylock. He was a merchant. He was a merchant. Should I write the spelling? Merchant. MERCHANT. Okay. He was a merchant and a moneylender. MONEYLENDER. Shylock was a merchant and a moneylender. MONEYLENDER. Moneylender in Venice. In Venice. Shylock was a Jewish man. Jewish is a religion. Okay, like how Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism is there. In the same way, Jewish is also a religion. Okay, shall I go to the next character? Shylock is a merchant. He was a businessman and also a moneylender from Venice. Okay, and he was a Jewish in religion. Am I audible to you?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
With this explanation, I go with the next character. Okay. Now, this Jewish people are always been hated and avoided by Christians. Christians never like this Jewish because they believe that Jesus Christ, okay, Lord Jesus, Lord Jesus has been crossed or he has been murdered. He has been killed by this Jewish people. Remember, this Jewish community and this Christian community, it may be the Catholics or it may be the Protestants, they never love or they never live in harmony with this Jewish people. Why? Because they believe that they have killed Lord uh, Jesus Christ. Okay, hence they hate each other. Here in England, sorry, in Venice, this Shylock was there. He was a very cruel businessman. He was a great moneylender. He used to give some amount of money in the form of loan to many, and as in a written form, he used to gather many plus super interest to them. Okay, for example, if he lends 10,000 amount of money in the form of loan to someone, in return they have to pay him some 30 or 40,000 rupees. How come they pay? If they have that much of amount with them, they could never been asked any of the money to this fellow, okay, to Shylock. Okay, so later what happens, there comes the second character called Bassanio. Look at the beginning of the sentence. Bassanio. 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 He was a young Venetine of noble rank. He was a young Venetine of a noble rank. Means he was belonging to the noble family, means a greatest family, an aristocratic family, a royal family of Venice. Venetine means a person from Venice. Like how a person from India is known as Indian. Okay, a person from America is known as American. In the same way, Bassanio is from Venice and he is known as Venetan. He was belonging to the noble rank of this Venetan place. He was wishing or willing, and he wishes to woo the beautiful and the wealthy heiress Portia of Belmont. See, Belmont is a name of place. Belmont is a name of place. Remember, Belmont is a name of place, and Belmont carries a beautiful heiress. Okay, her name is Portia. Heiress is what the person who is a successor of someone. For example, you keep your father as a in the middle. Before your father, it comes your grandfather, father, and son. Son is a successor, means after the father's death, son carries everything. Okay, and your grandfather is a predecessor, means before your father he was there, so he is what, predecessor, he was there already. Okay, then father, then successor. Okay, so here she was, that is Portia, was a wealthy heiress, okay, or the successor of a wealthy family from the place called Belmont. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Yes, may I get the answer? Are you
Yes, ma'am.
understanding?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any confusion?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Well, see, Bassanio was fallen in love with this Portia. Okay, she was the heiress of a wealthy family from the place called Belmont. Having squandered his estate, he needs 3,000 ducasta to subsidize his expenditures as a suitor. In order to complete his marriage procedure, excuse me. In order to complete his marriage procedure, he needs some amount of money. Okay, so that amount of money was 3,000 ducastas, but he doesn't have money in the hand. So he had a very good and a close friend, that is Antonio. So the fourth character is Antonio. Now I have told you regarding Shylock. The second is Bassanio, and the third one is Portia. Okay, Portia is a wealthy heiress from the Belmont, and also she is a lawyer. But this Bassanio, he doesn't know that she is a lawyer. He senses that she is the only pretty woman. Okay, and known for marriage. Okay, then Antonio is the fourth character. He is friend of this Bassanio. Okay, and he is also a wealthy merchant of Venice. Okay, and previously and repeatedly bailed him out. Antonio agrees to give amount of money to Bassanio, but he was a cash poor. But then when Bassanio exactly wanted money, at the same time, this Antonio doesn't have money in the hand. So what he makes a plan, he asks Bassanio that, if you have a person, if somebody gives some amount of money in the form of loan, I will be the bond guarantor or the loan guarantor between you and him, and I will pay back your amount. Don't worry about that. You find such kind of a person, okay? Because my ships, he has some, this ship business. So his ships have gone for voyage to this Indies, Mexico, and to England. So it takes time to return those ships back to the place. So till then, you find a money lender who gives us a money in the form of loan, and I will pay the amount back. They approach Shylock, a Jewish moneylender, and another worst thing with Shylock was he had a only daughter. Okay, he had a only daughter. She was also eloped with a Christian man. See, initially this Shylock was not liking this Christians, because as since the day of the Jesus Christ death, these Christians were irritating, annoying them very much. Okay, and generally they have arrived to the conclusion that Christians never love us, and even they started living with them in the same form. So his daughter also had eloped with this Christian man, and that made him very insult. Okay, so he thought that this will be the chance that I can annoy, I can irritate, okay, I can teach a lesson to this whole Christian community. So what he makes a plan. He keeps an idea, says that I, dear Antonio and Bassanio, you both are gentlemen. Okay, Antonio, you are so gentle that you never charges any interest to the person who takes money from you. So for that reason, even I don't charge any interest from you. But one condition, one I keep a condition. So what is the condition? The condition is that uh, I will give you certain time of certain period of time. So if you don't return the amount in the particular time, uh, see, they are requesting for 3,000 ducastas. Okay, so equal of this ducastas or equal of this currency. Ducasta means currency. Okay, like how rupees, dollar, pounds are there, in the same way. So if you don't pay me back on the given time, I will take the equal amount of flesh from your body part. Remember, I will take the equal amount of flesh from your body part. Are you understanding the Shylock's bond, and the condition is?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
So what he said, if they fail to return his amount or money on the given time by the Shylock, he will definitely cut the flesh from the body of Antonio. See, his condition is that if they don't return the amount on the given time, Shylock is going to cut the flesh from the body of Antonio, a businessman, a money lender. Okay, so they agree with the condition, but unfortunately, Antonio and Bassanio together, they never, they failed to pay back the amount on the given time. Okay, they failed to pay back the amount on the given time. Why? Because the ships never reached the place on exact time because of some worst condition in the sea atmosphere. Okay, so later the case went up to the court, and they had made an agreement, a bond between them. Okay, so Portia disguises herself as a lawyer. She comes to the court, and just a second, I will show you the scene that. Huh. See, are you viewing the scene? This lady is Portia. She is holding a letter in the hand. This is a bond which is written by Shylock. Shylock has written that if they both never pay back the amount in the given time, he will take the flesh from the body of Antonio. He is the judge who is writing here something, and the two person who is standing behind Portia are Antonio and Bassanio. So Portia, prior to speaking with Shylock, she gives him a long prolonged speech, okay, or she convinces him to be mercy, okay, karune torisu, Antonio mele karune torisu, be mercy on Antonio, okay. They are ready to, instead of them, I will pay your amount back, okay, but leave them, don't pick or don't cut any flesh from the body of Antonio. But Shylock never agrees to this point, okay. And later she becomes a very intelligent lawyer. She tells that, have you read your bond, okay, which is written by you? Shylock says that, I have read it many a time, no need to, not necessary to read it once again. She asked him to read it for many a times. He said that, he smiles arrogantly and he said that, I am conformed with my statement and the rules, so I am ready to take flesh from the hands of or from the body of this Antonio. So he holds the knife into his hand, and she keeps a condition that, see, in the bond you have written that you are, you can, as per the bond rule, you are permitted to take the flesh from the body of Antonio, but not a single drop of blood should bleed from his body, okay. See, remember and be concentrate on this words. She permits him to cut the flesh from the body of Antonio, but not a single drop of blood should not bleed from his body. How it is possible? When you cut something, it should bleed from the body, right? Are you listening to me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, is it very interesting?
Yes, ma'am.
Huh? Well, see, she asked to Shylock that, you are open, okay, or you are permitted to cut the flesh from the body of Antonio, but not a single drop from his body should not bleed. ಒಂದು ಹನಿ ರಕ್ತ ಕೂಡ ಅವನ ದೇಹದಿಂದ ಹೊರಗೆ ಬರಬಾರ್ದು, okay. So in such a way, you have to cut a part of body or a part of flesh from his body. And Shylock was shocked. He was thrilled. He was shivered. And he said that, how it is possible? Okay. And this is against the rule. I was joking. This bond is not a serious bond. Okay. And he, takes the bond. He says that, I don't want money from this Shylock, this Antonio and Bassanio. I was cracking a joke. They are my good friend. Okay. So he starts changing his color. He starts revealing his own color. And at the end, judge give a judgment that Shylock should be imprisoned and all his property should be written on the name of his daughter, and Antonio and Bassanio should be released and released from the case. So this is the half end of the play, and later on it extends, like after the marriage, this lady Portia is disguised, and Bassanio doesn't know that she is my her better half or my half shirt. Okay, later she reveals. There the story goes on. That is not necessary, but the only necessary point is that Shylock's character here. Fine. So here, to convince him not to cut or not to take a parts of the body or to cut a flesh from the body of Antonio, she gives a long prologue speech to Antonio. To Shylock. So what happens? How will this is the speech? In the tomorrow's class, I do read the speech and I will explain it deeply. Then I will also discuss the question answers. Start inserting your roll numbers. How was the story? How was the story?
It was good, ma'am.
Okay.
Interesting, ma'am.
Interesting. Then any other answer? I get answers only from the girls. Pavan Hugar, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you went with the story?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you read it already? Have you read it already?
No, ma'am.
Okay. How was the story?
It was good, ma'am.
Okay. It was only good.
Interesting and
Interesting and